Welcome back to a Sunday cruise video since it was raining and I'm unable to walk outside. I am back, so let's talk about what to expect this coming week. I will be having my normal stream week, and there are a lot of things to look forward to. So let's talk about it. First of all the crypto conferences and everything from last week was over, and we didn't have any big drops or big volatility last week, which is good because there's always a thing about, Bitcoin and crypto drops during major conferences. There's this phenomenon, right? Didn't happen last week. In fact, not only didn't happen, we also had some pretty bad economic reports last week in the US, like jobs report and all that, and we had bad GDP, all this stuff, and also didn't bring down Bitcoin and crypto. So overall, we've been pretty darn solid, right? This weekend though, we fell down a little bit. I mean, obviously we were like 97, pressing against 98. We came back down a little bit. We're about like 90, 94, 95. But overall, last week was absolutely fantastic. So let's see if we could build upon it this week. However, this week, we had that big FOMC meeting. We've been talking a lot about that ever since the tariffs started. Obviously, tariffs and everything around it has not been resolved. We haven't heard of one deal made yet, although Basant said there was one done, but he hasn't announced it. I believe this last week he said there was one done, but they're still waiting to announce it. But since all the tariffs has been placed, we haven't heard of any deal, although supposedly they're all been worked on. But how this all relates is, yeah, we're all worried. Wall Street is worried. Everyone is worried about inflation. Not only inflation, but just economic outlook and all that goes along with it. So we know that Trump and everyone else wants Fed Chair Powell to lower the Fed fund rate. But because of fears of rising inflation and economic uncertainty and, what else tariffs are going to do, Fed Chair Powell is not inclined to cut the Fed fund rate. So this week, the FOMC meeting will start on Tuesday, and there will be another press conference on Wednesday. And if you look at the percentages, it's virtually zero chance that he's going to be cutting. But it does not matter because the market will be reacting to that press conference. People want to see what he has to say. The last few times he spoke, he's been pretty hawkish about his stance of not cutting anytime soon. The last time he spoke, he was in Chicago, and he basically said, I'm not rushed to cut. There's just too much uncertainty. I need to get some clarity before I do. He did restate his stance on how this year he plans on cutting twice. No more, no less, still staying with 2 times, which is fine. I think a lot of people, including Trump, wants to see him cut a lot more than that, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times. I think if you look at the CMC predictions, it has increased to 4 times this year, but whether he's going to do that, don't know because of all the uncertainty, right? So markets will react. Generally speaking, before an FOMC meeting, markets are pretty stale, if not volatile. So I don't know what's going to happen on Monday. Tuesday, probably shaky, and Wednesday leading up to the FOMC meeting or press conference could be shaking. That's how it always is, every single time. Unless markets think that he's actually going to do a surprise cut. There's virtually no chance of it, but if he does do a surprise cut, well, markets will soar, but it's just not going to happen. I mean, unless we get some real clarity, he's just not going to be inclined to cut. And here's the other reason why he's not inclined to cut is because even though we have all this uncertainty, Wall Street seems to be less scared now. So we're not having these crazy volatile sell-offs anymore. And the economic numbers that has been coming out, even though they're bad, they're not like horrific. The GDP number that came out, wasn't good. Jobless claims that came out wasn't good, but unemployment rate held steady. And some of these forecasts from the companies, they weren't bad. They weren't like horrific. So it's not like the whole economy, the U.S. economy is crashing. If the whole economy was like crash and burning right now, despite possible rising inflation, Powell will cut rates, right? He did say in his last meeting, he said something like, I have to choose between saving jobs or saving inflation. But he doesn't have to do that right now. He doesn't have to choose saving jobs or saving inflation because it seems like the economy is still okay, right? So that means he's less inclined to cut because he doesn't need to save jobs or save the economy because it seems like it's still okay. So that's the situation we're in right now. So I think he's going to say more of the same. He's going to say, I have to wait and see, if there's still too much uncertainty. I need more clarity. The economy doesn't seem to be doing that badly, even though some of the numbers are not looking great, but not all that bad. So I need to wait. And we're probably going to have to wait until June for that first cut. The worst thing that could happen is if the economy continues to do well, or let's say the stock market and everything else continues to do well, we don't even get that cut in June. So I guess we'll have to see. And on the other hand, too, if you look at the 10-year rate, the 10-year rate also isn't dropping. It's stuck at 4.3. We want to see that drop. So yeah, that hasn't gone down anymore, too. And it's all due to because like the U.S. market actually hasn't been going down anymore. It's been going upwards. So that's the thing. So whether this week is going to be good or bad because of the FOMC meeting, it's hard to say. Maybe, the markets have already priced in that he's not going to be cutting no matter what, so it doesn't really matter. Unless he becomes really, really hawkish, maybe it doesn't really matter, right? Besides him speaking on Wednesday, Bank of England will also be I think on the 8th, which is Thursday, I believe, will also be reporting if they're going to cut their interest rate, and it is predicted that they will. So they're not going to be waiting for Powell. The ECB recently just cut. Usually the ECB and Bank of England follow the Fed, but it seems like they're just doing it proactively because they just don't want to wait. So the ECB did it. It seems like Bank of England will do it. So the Fed in this case may be the last to do it. So we will see what happens. And also Coinbase will be reporting, I believe, the same day as Bank of England reporting. So we'll see how Coinbase does. Obviously they're reporting the last quarter. The last quarter was kind of shaky, honestly. Q1, right, was when things started coming down. So probably not the greatest earnings, but if they report that they still had awesome trading, awesome revenue, and profits, then that's a huge reflection on crypto overall. So that would be pretty good. So we'll wait for that as well. So those are the major things to look forward to this week. Okay. How do I see things? I see more of the same. I see some charts, showing that we're just doing fine. We're correcting a little bit. I see something about, hey, if we go down a little bit further, we may hit like 93K, which is like the 50 DMA mark for Bitcoin. A lot of the alts are holding. You know, Sui came down a little bit from their previous high recently, and Solana of XRP, you know, came down slightly, but overall we're holding really well compared to just say a few weeks ago when Bitcoin was stuck in the 80s, right? So we're doing pretty darn well, and like I said at the beginning of this video, considering last week we had some big opportunities to fall and we didn't, so it's fantastic. So this week it really depends on, you know, what Wall Street thinks of Powell and FOMC meeting and everything that he's gonna say about the future, right? I really don't think there's anything like new that he could say. I think Wall Street already predicted that everything is, you know, everything is like priced in already. There's no chance for a rate cut. I think he's, you know, Wall Street is going to, you know, predict that he's going to say more or less what I just said to you guys. So that's it. I think, you know, I don't think we're going to see anything really volatile. Unless he says something like, you know, really different. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Yeah. As for anything else, you know, crypto related, you know, XRP is going crazy. I didn't report this. You know how they made a bid for Circle, for Circle. They originally offered, I think, I forgot. They offered like 5 billion, which was really under. I think they upped it to, it was like some crazy amount, like 20 billion or something like that. So Ripple is really serious about the stablecoin game. So yeah, I saw that, and you know, a lot of their future-based ETFs is going to start trading. So obviously that's something new for them. There's rumors about, you know, spot ETFs getting approval, right? I don't know when that's going to happen, but when that does, it's going to cause some traction, right? Obviously. So we're waiting for that to happen. So, you know, on the crypto front, really not a whole lot of big news. But there's always stuff happening, right? Like I said, when I was in Dubai, I visited a lot of the conferences, spoke to a lot of projects. There's a lot of crazy new things being worked on and developed. There's a lot of stuff that you just can't see or measure just by price action. You really can't. Although most people do, and they judge how the market is just based on price, but really that's just not how you can do it, especially when it's like kind of rocky right now, right? But there are so many things being worked on behind the scenes, and that's why I like chains, right? That's why I favor like the big cap chains, right? Why I like Sol so much, why I like Sui so much, and say like AVAX so much, and some of these other big chains too, because they're the base layer. They're the supporting layer, the operating system for all these dApps. Because all these new things that are being worked on are on top of these base layers, right? So that's why I like them so much, because I don't think they're gonna go away. All the activities on top of them, and their ecosystem just has so much going for it. So many users, so many dApps, so many volume, and just a whole lot, you know. So that's why I stick with them, and I think they will come back when everything else does, right? And there's a lot of exciting things. That's really it. All right, guys. I don't think there's anything else. I mean, this week I will be back to my normal schedule, so I'll be streaming tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I should be caught up. I don't think I'm jet lagged anymore. Today, I think I'm fully caught up. There was a 10-hour. There's a 10-hour difference between time, but I think I caught up. I'm pretty good with jet lag. Outside of that, yeah, there's really nothing else. So smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, bright and early. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.